Hey, this is Daryl Webster, Office 365 MVP. I'm one of the lucky ones to get into the Skype for Business broadcast preview, and I just want to share a few early experiences that I've had with that. So we've seen a few things about how these meetings are set up, especially via the video that the Office Mechanics recorded from YouTube, and I'll just go through a few of these things because there's some things that I had to discover that weren't really sort of talked about so much in that video. So there is a few things here that we can change. We can change the meeting title. I won't go ahead and do that, but we do have a start and finish time, 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. At the moment it's 12:30 here in New Zealand, so this meeting is off and into the future. What I did find was that if you were trying to start a meeting and get it connected and recording, or rather broadcasting as quickly as possible, that you still needed to put something, a time that was in the future. So me being 12:30 at the moment, I'd need to have it at 12:45 at least, before I could save the meeting details. I'll leave it at 2 o'clock, and that's an hour and a half away, but I can still start the meeting and start broadcasting before the scheduled date. So we'll leave it at that. Now down into the event team, so with a few times of experimenting with this, working with Laurie Strand at Paradigm as well, we found that the members of the event team had to be someone from within your organisation. They couldn't add my name, being outside of Paradigm. So that sort of goes, it's different to the regular Skype for Business online experience where you can invite a presenter from outside the organisation. Maybe that's just due to having it being restricted during the technical preview, the inter-domain kind of experience. Likewise, that once you're in the internal meeting experience, which we'll see soon, you can't invite someone in like you would normally from a Skype for Business meeting. So we'll just leave this at the moment with the event team, but this is where you might invite your people from your organisation who would have other cameras connected and be able to switch between and show different visuals. We'll leave our attendees as anonymous, but the thing that I did wanted to show you in this video was more around customizing the event and adding the Yammer discussion panel, because there's a few interesting things I found about that. So I'm going to choose the right panel app. And that being that it's going to appear on the right hand side. That's the best format I probably would suggest for Yammer, being that the feed itself is usually long and tall and you discuss things in that sense. So what I wanted to do was find out what's the correct format for filling out these boxes. We've got Yammer group ID and importantly too the Yammer group network name. So if I go over to my internal Yammer network for webster.net.nz, and I created a group for this, the Skype for Business broadcast discussion group. It doesn't have to be that, but this is what I use for demo. And as I visit that group, the important parts to grab in the address bar are the group ID at the very end of the URL, and then also the full Yammer network name. So that is including, we go back to home and grab all of this, including all the HTTP and the yammer.com address, not just your network name. So that's what I found to work. Let's talk. That will just be the text that's within the new feed box. Just to encourage people to talk. You might want to put something more specific to what the broadcast is about to encourage people along. Important to note too that if you want to make sure people have a good user experience internally, that this URL, star.yammer.com, is added to your trusted domain so that you don't get prompted all the time for certain things that you might do that require the browser to allow that level of access. So down to troubleshooting and support, I recommend that you do create your own more personalized, perhaps instructional video or something that's more to do with your company, so you can add a bit of branding and also some personal feel around that for helping people out and get into your meetings, your broadcast meetings. Likewise with a custom link for attendees. So we'll save those meeting options and we'll see how this works out. So when we copy the link event and copying that to the clipboard. This same link is going to be what will be used by both the attendees and also the event team. So as we launch that, we both get the same page, whether you're a guest or part of the event team. The event team has to be logged in using Skype for Business client, the desktop client, and the latest version, so that it gets all the different broadcast controls once those have been livened up in your tenant. So first of all, sign in as the event team member and see what that experience is like. And I'll also just go over to a private browser session while that's loading up, and we'll copy and run that same link but log in as the attendee. So I'll just bump that over to behind, and that's logging in there. So we'll come back to that window. And at that point I did need to take myself off mute, just for the purpose of this demonstration, because what I found when I tried to record it earlier was carried on talking, giving lots of good information, but joining a link meeting or Skype for Business meeting, you can often get muted purposefully. So with that in mind, I've now taken myself off mute. You can hear me, that's cool. One other thing that I will take care of once I do start the broadcast is mute the output for the audience, so that we won't get all this echo and bits and pieces. Anyway, I'll explain that as we go. So, my first experience of this, okay, I've got a few more controls that are at my fingertips within the Skype for Business client. Now I've seen the Skype broadcast, and I look down here to say, well, what can I present? I can present PowerPoint files. So I can't share the desktop at this stage. I guess there's a few more things to work out there, and might be that there needs to be yet another update to the client to make that work. Because my understanding is that it's using now a different protocol for sharing desktops and also broadcasting video using H.263 rather than the real-time protocol. So there'll be some changes that need to be made for sharing desktops. So I'm not going to present a PowerPoint file, because you get the idea. You upload one, you can skim through and play it like we already experienced within a Skype for Business meeting. But what I did want to do was show you that, okay, I can start a broadcast meeting. It says activate video, so I did do that. Go ahead and start my video. And at this point I was like, okay, so I still can't start the Skype broadcast. What's the story? And what I did do was, in my earlier mucking around, fooling around, I thought, alright, maybe I do need to upload a PowerPoint file and try that on. So I did that. I uploaded something, and okay, I can get the meeting going now, but it was still failing in presenting, because it said something about not being able to decode the video. So what I hadn't done was, okay, I can see my video preview there, but I need to make the active video, make that video active for broadcasting, being the frame and what the people are going to see in the meeting. So now you've seen that, I can start the broadcast. And what I want to show you now is, as I start it, let's just quickly go back over to the experience of the attendee. And I won't talk so much about the Yammer frame at this stage. We'll just talk about the video. You'll see in the bottom right hand corner, this is live as I'm recording. You can hear me, and you'll see that the broadcast will come up, and eventually you will see it's about 30 seconds behind. And sorry, it is going to be a little distracting as I talk and demonstrate things, that the big screen here is going to be 30 seconds behind. Let's mute that. And that the bottom right hand corner is actually where I'm talking to you live now with the audio feed. So yep, we had to mute that, and hopefully this recording, yeah, it looks like it's still recording there. You're still getting more audio. So yeah, 30 seconds behind. Now how's that going to play out with a Yammer discussion column or forum area here, when the presenter themselves is going to be talking, and then 30 seconds later people are going to be reacting to that and discussing that content? It's not going to be quite a match up there, so I'm going to be interested to see how that will play out in a actual meeting. And I'm attending one tomorrow for the education sector. A few things being demonstrated there, so other things that I'll point out about this paradigm as we go through. So yeah, okay, you can see that I've added the Yammer details to try and present the panel and get the discussion going, but it's not working. We see this sort of iframe thing there about it's not allowing me to go through. What we need to do to make this appear is be logged into Yammer. So if I go on over to yammer.com and log in, I'll try to do this very quickly so that you don't have to put up with my delays, and I'll try and be so skillful that I can talk at the same time as logging in, filling in the dead air. So the point is that people have to be logged into the Yammer network that is being used for that discussion panel, for that panel to be displayed. So as we go into that, there's another thing that I want to show you too, and it's been a little bugbear of mine about the Yammer network, in that it will also pick up on the last used or last active Yammer network that you were in. So let's get into here and finally get past all the yes, love how that takes over. So we're logging into webster.net.nz. We're in my home Yammer network, and I've created a Skype for Business broadcast group, and that's the one that I had attached to my live meeting. So now that we're in the meeting and we're also logged into the Yammer network, I go back over here and refresh the network. Found that it's best to hit your address bar and re-enter the address, or enter on the address rather than the refresh button for some reason, but that will reload the meeting, and we'll see the yeah, there you go, the Yammer experience there, and the Yammer experience along the side there for discussions. So what I do find too, and I just want to show you something else around this. I thought, well, okay, this means that our audience needs to have access to the Yammer group, and they need to be members of the Yammer network. They also need to be have visited the Yammer network, and that being their most recently active Yammer network. So there's a few little speed bumps here to make sure that it's working. What I also wanted to do was think, well, okay, I need to have the audience as part of this network already. So in this case, webster.net.nz is not the best place to host that conversation for my audience, because there's not too many people that are members of that. I want to use an external network. So what I'm going to do is show you how I connected to the Office 365 network, and then specifically the Skype for Business IT Pro group within that network. So we'll go into here, and I'm going to go and visit that network. Actually, we'll do that from, rather than from the attendee browser, we're going to do that from our where are we? There it is. No, it's not. Sorry about this. Okay, so that's the browser where I had created the meeting, and we're going to visit that network, Office 365 network, and then we'll go into the Skype for Business group. So I'm going to be adjusting these values in the meeting as it's running. So yeah, I can do that as long as the meeting time, actually if the meeting time has already started, then I can't make that change and save it. It's going to have problems doing that. So I'm going to get away with it now because I've put that meeting start time at 2 o'clock, an hour and a half away. Go into Skype for Business IT Pro, and we're going to grab the group ID at the end of the URL. We know how to do that. Visiting, grab that number, and we'll also, great, didn't copy that correctly. Also grab the whole URL from the top here and into the Yammer network name. So this is just to further show you that while I save these settings, it's still going to, for the audience, look at the most recently active Yammer network. Because as we go back there and we refresh this, and I will have to quickly mute the audio as it comes blaring in. Let's get that. You'll see there that it is detecting in the header there webster.net.nz as the panel or the network that I'm wanting to use, even though in that third box it's saying what's the network name, and I put in the IT Pro network. So there's a mismatch there. It's picking up on the most active network. So we have to, as the audience, visit the network, or have visited the network that we're going to be using. Really interested to see how this plays out tomorrow. And once we have visited that, and it's going to now be able to match up that group ID with the last active network that I have visited. So again, a nice refresh and a quick hit of the mute button, and there we go, Office 365 network, it matches, and we've got our conversation panel all working. So that, as you can see, is how it should be working, but there's a lot of things that are, you might say, hangovers or speed bumps, that this scenario will work quite well if it's done internally and you are working within a Yammer network a lot. So we'll see how this plays out. I'll give you some feedback and some reflections on the meeting that I attend tomorrow. Because at the moment, I know the meeting is using Yammer. I know that it's using Skype for Business Broadcast, and it is about education, but I don't know what Yammer network I would need to be part of and whether I've used it and entered it. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Is there anything else that I want to show you? I think that's probably what I wanted to focus on, was how do I get that Yammer conversation going along in the network and in the meeting. Let's just go back to my meeting experience. So here we are, still as part of the broadcast team, and when I stop that broadcast, it's going to, even though it's been scheduled for a couple of hours, that's it. The broadcast is finished, and I can't go in and change anything about that. But the nice thing is that it will keep that recording around for a little while, so people who come in late and want to see the meeting itself will be able to play it through just like a recording, kind of like your set-top box where you can go back and see a movie that's already started. So if we're going back over to our attendee experience, you see that it's still playing through. So yeah, I won't enter any of the any conversations alongside this meeting, but you get the idea that if this is 30 seconds behind me as the presenter, and I've saying something and they're reacting to it 30 seconds later, that it's really going to be this interaction, and this conversation panel is going to be more about people interacting there and talking with each other about what they see at the time, rather than between the event team and the people in the discussion panel. So I think that's how it's going to play out in terms of how that panel will be used. It's my understanding that the 30-second delay is by design. It's just about streaming it up to the Azure services and how they come back down, and how it's been distributed to all the attendees. So I don't know if there's going to be any decrease in that time, whether it's going to be given more compute power or bandwidth or something. But there's still going to be some kind of delay that will be catered for or have to be thought of between the event team and the audience experience. So that's really all I wanted to show you. It's about 20 minutes. I know that there was a few hiccups as we were recording. Hopefully you forgive me for that kind of informality. That's just the way I roll. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll let you know how the meeting goes with this big Microsoft Education meeting tomorrow. Thanks for watching.